Kensil Culture, Puppets, Props, Puns, Podcasts.
Meow, 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 meow. Oh. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to Kensil Culture. And Safari's so good, and we're about to set off on an adventure with Kensil Culture, the pop culture magazine. And here he is, the cannibal of culture, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Kensil. Johnny.
Hey, people out there who don't know how to brush their teeth. I'm John Kensil, and that's the legendary Wid. Looks like Groucho Marx in that Captain Spaulding.
Oh, horse feathers.
He's good like that. Well, Wid and I had quite an adventure this weekend. We drove up to Williamsport. No, it's beyond Williamsport, Pennsylvania, in a place called Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania, which is weird.
Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania. It's like saying, I don't know. It's like the weirdest place that I have been in a while because they know nothing about the real Jersey Shore. Okay,
they had to be at least 250 miles away from any ocean, right? It's way up that way. And in the town of Jersey, I don't know why, I forget why they call it Jersey Shore. I think a family founded it. They
wanted to feel at home, and they felt like there may be something with the sandy soil or something like that. I couldn't get the straight answer out of anybody.
All I know is that their zoo, their Jersey Shore Zoo,
yeah,
they have a dog.
What? That's not much of a zoo, John.
And you told me that the Jersey Shore Aquarium closed down.
Oh, the aquarium, the Jersey Shore Aquarium closed down.
Why did it close down?
Well, the clam died. No, I'm being shellfish. Okay, and I just want to say I like Jersey Shore. I like that sort of, I live right in downtown Philadelphia, okay, where I can never not hear either a siren or somebody on a motorcycle. You know, that's like a constant 24 hours, or a train going by, or a bus, but
a lot of sound effects.
I was out there in. It must have been the middle of, there were mountains all over, and it was something to see. I didn't know
neat.
That it was so beautiful in parts of Pennsylvania.
Oh, I think Pennsylvania is the most beautiful state out there too. And it was neat. On the way up, we went through the Lehigh Tunnel, and we had to put our clothes back on, and that's when the snow started.
Wait a minute. I don't remember not having my clothes on at any time. I'm not like that, you know.
I gave you a 5-hour roofie. Oh. But it was really, Pennsylvania is really nice. The seasons change the snow. It was a real nice, it was called Bald Birds Brewery. And it was a real nice room. Oh, all right. Very nice. Those people were sweet. They're very nice people.
They're country bred. They're a little bit more, and it wasn't my favorite show to do in a while because there was a big room and the sight lines were weird and the
lights,
the microphone broke down. It was like what could go wrong went wrong, and John was sweating bullets because he was responsible for the sound. It was the house sound, and John came to the rescue. Okay, just like when somebody goes medic. They said, Kensil, yes. And he came and he put his sound system in within record time. I think that was faster than the speed of sound.
There's probably a couple hundred people there, and they have a Bluetooth microphone. It's all cordless and stuff. I walk up, I go, hey, everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. And it died. So the girl goes there, she goes, I don't know how to do it, and hitting all these buttons and stuff. I'm telling you, I've been saying this to Wid for years. I'd love to write a book on how to run a comedy show, make sure everything's charged up. Get there an hour early. Everything's charged up. New batteries in the things are charged. Don't put the heat on the room. Don't.
No.
Don't ever do that, right?
No, they don't do that in professional places like the Letterman show or Johnny. They would put the temperature down so people stay awake. They don't fall asleep.
58 degrees.
Warm and you fall asleep.
But you know what it is? You get some self-righteous waitress comes in and goes, "Oh, I'm sitting in the room. It's so cold in here. Turn the heat on." Well, she puts up to 75.
Do that again.
Oh, it's so cold in here. Oh, my bonbons are going to freeze.
And that's just the waiters.
Bobby Sherman, right? And it was so they turn the heat on. Well, then you get 200 people in the room, body heat, sweating, and when people sweat, it's not funny.
Right.
Whit has a famous saying.
Famous saying.
If you sweat, you die.
Yeah. You sweat, you die. That's it. Because I do perspire, okay, sometimes, okay, no sweat. And, if you go out into the cold and do physical work right after you're sweating and everything like that, this is on stage. I don't sweat like, our classic soul singers or anybody like that. But if you sweat, you die because that kind of makes it. That's how you catch pneumonia.
What it is too, in the summertime, you're allowed to sweat because that's your body actually.
Pneumonia.
Your body's in the summertime, it's supposed to cool yourself off. But in the wintertime, if you sweat,
wow,
right? Well, eventually you're going to stop doing the physical activity, and your soaked body is going to start getting cold now because the sweat freezes, and they have little ice cubes hanging from your body parts. But this is really cool. On the way,
icicles. Say, I'm
ice,
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's a Russian word.
Well, this is pretty cool. So on the way up, your radio stations die out. So we listened to a podcast on the way up, and it was Gilbert Gottfried's amazing colossal podcast, right? Which is really neat to listen to.
Gilbert.
And if you're a fan of showbiz, movies, comedy, I will listen to it. I know it's weird though. It kind of irks me.
What's that?
I drove to the mountains before with my friends who are lay people, meaning they're not involved in comedy, and I started playing it for them. Mm-hmm. And they were like, "What is this crap? Who? What's he talking about?" And I'm fascinated by it, but I had to turn it off because, and I don't get to. They explain everything. They'll say things like, Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula, whose posters over every wall of every Halloween event, and they go, "Well, they're talking about him being a big heroin addict. He died broke. He died. They burned him in his cape and all that stuff.
To be dead.
My friends are like,
to be really dead.
Yeah. They're going, who's he talking?
Must be glorious.
Yeah. They're going, who's he talking about? What's this going on? Right? But I thought it was really interesting. But they explained who these people are. Boris Karloff played Frankenstein in the first couple of movies. But then I thought it was great. My friends, I'm like, what do you want to hear? You want to hear some crappy 80s song that you've heard a million times going, oh, yeah, I love this song down the beach. But so we're not listening to it, all right? We had heard a couple episodes.
We're kind of fans of that that world. That's hence Kensil culture and the pop culture magazine that we are. Right? We like to talk about anything that has to do with pop. And we're not big sports guys, except for wrestling. So this is it's right up our alley.
And Whit's right too. And I noticed something too about Gilbert Gottfried and these guests because he interviews comedy writers because we're all involved in comedy somehow. I noticed something. I noticed like Wid, Artie Lang, other people, they have photographic memories of things or encyclopedic memories of different events. Like Artie Lang is incredible because he knows every team that participated in every World Series since 1950 and who won. It was 1958 and then right. Wid knows about music. I know things like that. I notice a lot of guys they know they're encyclopedic of it. Well, Gilbert has these guests on, and these people are probably the late 60s, early 70s, even their 80s. These people have memories like, oh my God, how did you remember that? They come on.
Well, they write them down before they go to, and once you do a lot of interviews and things like that, you kind of have a set.
A set list.
Couple stories that you tell. I remember that with Forrest J. Ackerman. Because every time Forrest J. Ackerman was the man who invented sci-fi, and he was he was in a million different movies as a sci-fi. But he would give the same 3 stories. Tony Bon Jovi, my friend, he would give the same 5-6 stories in the interview, and so that's how they learn to remember that.
That's funny too. It's
I give the same story sometimes.
We'd mentioned Forrest J. Ackerman. In the 60s, kids fell in love with Hot Rods, Three Stooges, Little Rascals, Batman, and horror movies, right?
The good old days.
This guy, Forrest Ackerman, put a magazine out called Famous Monsters to them. But
Famous Monsters of Movie Land.
I don't think anybody under 60 years old even knows who he is. They'll know Fangoria magazine. Yeah. Right. I don't know anybody. If I said to one of my friends,
he wrote for Fangoria too.
Yeah. But he was. They didn't. Nobody knows who he is except older people.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He started it. He's a founder. But so
pioneer invented the word sci-fi.
All right. Yeah. He took science and fiction and took 3 letters from each word. Right.
People like Spielberg.
It could have been called science fiction.
People like Rick Baker. People like Stephen King. All admired him as they were growing up, and he had in his museum, he had letters written by a 13-year-old Stephen King, an 11-year-old Rick Baker, and just all sorts of things. He was actually in the most expensive video ever made, or one of the most expensive videos ever made, Thriller. Okay, which.
He's in the video?
He's in the video. He's in the very beginning, and he's sitting watching the movie screen, and you'll see an old guy with glasses there, and that's him. That's how hip he was.
But it's funny. Like, I'll bring him up, and nobody's going to, like, who the F are you talking about? I don't know this guy. All he knows is, like, things from 1990, not 80s and up. But, so back to the writers and stuff, encyclopedic stuff, I thought it's really neat. There is he's a unusual looking guy. He looks like Jabba the Hutt with a beetle wig on and glasses. Bruce Valanche.
Bruce Valanche, comedy writer for all the Academy Award shows, for all the specials that are out there for years and years. A big, giant, Muppet-looking guy with red glasses is his sort of thing, and sort of flamboyantly.
He enjoys the company of Benning and Waiters, right? He likes Rent.
The funniest guy out there, had the greatest stories on Gilbert's podcast.
So oh my God! So we're listening to it, and it was an 1 hour and 54-minute interview with the guy, and there's something really neat that people discovered. He worked on, in the 70s, it was real popular to have crappy variety shows. It was real cheap to do, and he worked on all of them. There's something that's beyond belief to watch. Go on YouTube. It was
like new vaudeville back then, because they would have like one act after another, a guy juggling, then a girl singer, then a comedian.
It was gaudy and crappy 80s. Crappy 70s stuff. Well, the Brady Bunch was about a family, famous syndicated, sitcom, family sitcom. Well, it went off the air like 1974. For some reason, they because they're very popular in reruns, ABC decided to put out the Brady Bunch Variety Hour, where they took that family from the sitcom and gave them a variety show where they came out and sang disco songs, and it's so unbelievable. They're all bad. They're all wearing jumpsuits, and they're dancing and singing, and there's Alice the maid, and it's the crappiest.
Did Paul Lynde actually guest star on one of those?
Several. Well, Paul Lynde, because he was popular as this weirdo feminine character actor in the 60s. Well, to make money, he was on all these shows. All right, Donnie and Marie Osmond, they had a variety show. All right, and it's awful. All right. Well, two things led to each other too. One time on an episode of Donnie and Marie Osmond, they did a tribute to Star Wars, it's awful, right? And they had Chris Christopherson play Han Solo, but I think they had the real C-3PO and R2-D2 going, blah, blah, blah. Oh, R2, what's going on here? Right? My banana hammock's getting rusty, right? But it's really bad. And Paul Lynde played Darth Vader.
Paul Lynde center square for years.
Right. Well, it's awful. Well, Bruce Valanche is telling these hilarious stories. Then he said, in 1976, they gave Paul Lynde a Halloween special.
Woo!
Called the Paul Lynde Halloween Special. And everybody, if you're watching the show, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to go on YouTube and look it up.
The Paul Lynde Halloween Special.
Oh my God! It's your jaws. How gaudy and corny. That's a great word. Paul Lynde plays a truck driver. he plays a truck driver, right? And he has to drop something off at a haunted mansion. And when he gets there, he meets what's her name? The woman who played the Wicked Witch of the West.
Margaret Hamilton.
Right. He meets her and Billy Burke, who played Witchy Poo on some other.
They're married to Ziegfeld.
Yes.
Billy Burke.
But exactly. But for some reason, he's in there and he's like going through the house with the candles and going, "This place is scary." Oh, right. And he turns around.
As good as Paul Lynde. Do your Paul Lynde again.
Oh my goodness, Paul. Paul, this is a question they asked him on Hollywood Squares. You're riding your motorcycle down the street, and the steering wheel comes off in your hand. What do you do? And he goes, honk if you love Jesus, right?
Which was a very popular bumper sticker. When they have, and bumper stickers are no more, but honk if you love Jesus.
Paul, when a man falls out of a boat, they yell out, "Man overboard." Paul, what do you yell out when a woman falls overboard? And he goes, "Full speed ahead." Oh my God. Paul, what has 2 sticks and 16 green balls?
What's that?
And he goes, Indian wrestling.
Now, did they air that?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Did
right?
they air that innuendo?
Oh my God. But it was, you know, it's weird too. Wid and I talk about this. There's so many obviously over the top, flamingly gay actors. But as a kid growing up, I just thought he was a sissy man, not gay. It's right. You know what I mean? It was like a prissy guy. Like, what are you doing in my bank? Mrs. It's just Mrs. Carmichael. Please get out of here. I just thought he was like a fussy guy. I didn't realize till later on these guys are screamingly. They're drag queens without makeup on.
Well, you know,
they were hilarious.
It was a different world back then, John. They had to hide, but we loved them, you know.
Oh, Paul Lynde and
as character, we loved Paul Lynde. We knew it, you know.
What's the other guy's name? There's another, like Charles Nelson Riley, hilarious. Who's the other guy from the Doris Day Show? We go busy.
Terry Thomas?
No, he looked like him now.
Oh, okay.
But it's right. But a name like Billy Burke, like that, Billy something, right? But it was very funny. But so Paul Lynde on this episode, you have to see this too, right? He's in the haunted mansion, right? And he's being chased by 2 witches for some stupid, strange reason. Imagine the writing room. But he goes in the room and he goes, "Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, Kiss." And it's the band Kiss's first TV appearance, right? And
who do you think put that together? Like that must have been some out of touch. I guess
manager.
They did just think, oh, they got makeup on. Oh, they're Halloween. Those guys are Halloween.
Well, about less than a year later, they had a show. They had their own TV movie called Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and it's a band Kiss, and they're going on an adventure where there's an evil villain haunting or taking over an amusement park.
Phantom of the Opera,
and it's really funny because they dubbed in their voices. It's not Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley. It's other people's voices. It's so freaking obvious. Like Scatman Crothers is like Gene Simmons. But it's so gaudy and cheesy. Well, there's a famous thing Wid mentioned earlier. Wid's in a band called the Roddenberries.
Roddenberries, well, a Star Trek parody band, party band, and a lot of fun. We play Las Vegas every year for the big convention, and we play the little conventions around the country.
Well, Wid, in a couple sketches with them, because he has salt and pepper hair, he portrays George Lucas, right? In 1977, in the summer of 77 or 78, summer of 77, Star Wars came out. Gigantic, worldwide super hit. Well, to cash in on it, they made the Star Wars Christmas special. And it's you can't believe someone actually did this. It's like a bad Vegas show, but it's all the cast of Star Wars. And for some reason, there's a sketch in there with Chewbacca, the Wookiee. He's trying to make it home for Christmas.
Chewbacca looked like Cousin It from the Addams Family, but
if Lurch played him,
but people took him seriously.
Yeah. Well, he has to get home, and he has a wife named like Boo Boo and a son named Stinky, and they had to make new costumes for him. And it's really strange because he lives like a giant, like Gilligan's Island hut, and he's waiting for Santa Claus to come. because Santa Claus visits other planets, and it's awful. Well, there's a sketch where his son Stinky puts on a virtual reality helmet, and he has the hots for African American singer Diane Carroll, and it's just Diane Carroll. He's watching through
Julia.
Yeah, but it's just really weird and cheesy, and all the stars are in it. Well, there's a very funny scene where the famous Cantina band would, no, it's
oh, that's popcorn. I'm sorry. I put popcorn in where the cantina
is. Anyway, it was really weird. But anyway, B. Arthur from Maude.
Okay, and Adrienne Barbeau from Maude.
Yeah, that's right. B. Arthur plays the barmaid there, and she gets out and she sings a song. And it's just ridiculous. You had to watch it. Well, but George
Lucas, that she was a Marine.
Was she?
Yeah. I mean, Maude was a Marine, and she was I think she went beyond sergeant even.
Yeah, she did. I think she used to entertain the troops by throwing transmissions over huts, and she would break bowling pins with her mitts. But she was there. So, yeah. But you watch a special anyway. So George Lucas, that I said we'd parry sometimes in the Roddenberrys.
I'm the biggest thing in Disneyland.
He for years he bought the rights back from this crappy holiday special. Well, and it wasn't.
He tried to destroy it.
Yeah, right. Well, he forgot though. Several people had copies of it, and they keep putting it up on YouTube. I think finally he embraced it, because it totally took away from the whole culture of Star Wars and dolls and toys. It's like Star Wars goes to Las Vegas. It was crap. And, they air it. You have to see it. Well, Bruce Valanche, all our stories are like a pinball machine. They all come back around. Well, I'll get back to you on that. Loop back. He wrote for it. And he was telling all these great stories about it. Just ridiculous. But he worked on all these shows, and he met all these stars. It's funny, too, when you watch these shows, Donnie and Maria, some has, like Groucho Marx, Betty Davis would appear on these shows, the Carol Burnett show. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. It's really corny seeing an old 80-year-old actress on these. But Bruce Valanche is telling these great stories. Our friend Will Bozarth was in San Diego this weekend.
And he
met him, and he met Carrot Top, too. Who else was the other guy too? But it was just very interesting.
I loved it that Paul Lynde had Kiss on, and I actually said that to Paul Stanley. Is he the one?
Yes.
And he used to be at this place, a bar called Columbus in Columbus Boulevard. Danny Aiello was the doorman, and I would sneak in somehow. I said I knew this one, so I would go there a lot because the stars would hang there. But, at the end of the night, you're sitting there drinking with Paul Stanley and Bernadette Peters and other people. But Paul Stanley used to bring a thick pile of Polaroids of the groupies that he had his way with. And
Operation H, like that?
And he would show them like baseball cards, got them, need them.
Oh, man.
Got to
You want to see something funny too about Paul Stanley is we
he called that guy out. Did you ever see when he called the guy out?
That's it
with a laser pointer.
That's it. Yeah, go on YouTube, and he did it a couple of times. For some reason, people would. What's weird too? Someone was shining a laser pointer in like Gene Simmons in his face from the audience, and they stopped singing, and you see like Gene Simmons point to the guy, and you see Paul Stanley go, "Yo," with this thick. New
Yorker accent. It was really thick.
If I describe it properly, I'm not being anti. He had a very thick Jewish New York accent. He goes, "Yo, you shine that laser pointer in my face one more time, I'm going to shove it up your ass," right? And you shouldn't do that because you figure, hey, a man, I'll do it, because you know what happens? Other people are going to do it at other concerts. And there's videos of people doing it at other places. And Paul Stanley, you watch these videos, there's several ones where he's on stage and he demands a light, right? And he yells at the guy. He goes, "Over here, a-hole." But he says the full word, right? All right, a double hockey stick bent sideways, hole, right? And
people don't like that. The techies don't like that. You call them an a-hole. The
lights go over there now.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
But it's so funny,
Chris.
Oh my God. Oh, but it's so fun when you see him do this. He freaks out. He's all mad. There's a ton of videos of this. So we may have talked about this before. It's so entertaining. We're givers. It will. All right. If you look these videos up on YouTube, Paul Stanley yells at somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
man, he got. I mean, it's funny to see them break character because they're always such. I mean, they've got the makeup, they've got the outfits, and they, really look like they're.
Well, and
kabuki zombies.
And we're talking about earlier too is everything's faked, right? Just because someone says something doesn't mean it happened. There was supposed to be a Kiss comic book came out in the late 70s, right? And they go,
I think I have it.
And they go, it was made with their blood. And they go, yeah, it's true. They pricked their fingers and let it go into the printing ink. Really? Says who? Where's the video of that? But people believe it. There's a rumor going around too that Gene Simmons had his tongue surgically removed and had a cow tongue put in because his tongue's real long, right?
Something in the way he moves.
Well, this is really cool too. All right, if you go on YouTube and their little search bars next to the side with their little thumbnails, there's other bands freaking out at people in the audience, and it's so hilarious. There's several with.
People get knocked out. They get cold cocked right there.
Axl Rose is on stage, and someone throws something on stage,
like him.
And he screams at them, right? And all right, so you click on that video. Then there's another video. Then I think they're in like Barcelona, Spain. Someone throws a Nerf-sized rock on stage. He screams, "You mother effer! You all go there!" It's so freaking hilarious, right? So. But I wish I had the rights to it. We could do a whole podcast on it. My favorite one of all time. I ever show it to you with AC/DC.
I love it.
We all love AC/DC. Yeah. And the guitar player is Angus Young. He wears a little schoolboy outfit.
Yeah.
Well, he's on stage performing somewhere. He walks out a catwalk. All right. Somebody whips a beer at him. Right. It doesn't hit him though, but it almost hits him. Right. And he gets all mad. He's all PO'd. He's all mad, right? But he doesn't. He keeps playing, right? And he sees the guy who threw the beer at him, all right? And he starts going like this. I dare you. I dare you now to do it again. I dare you. What do you think the guy does? He hits him right in the face with a cup of beer or a can of beer. It goes all over him, right? And it's so freaking funny because, right? And he's still playing. And some bouncers grab the guy and they bring him up on stage and he grabs the guy's nose like this and twists like the Three Stooges. And he keeps playing.
He gives him a nosy twister.
But in that little pile there,
that's why they're AC/DC. Everybody, that's on the highway to hell doing that.
There's another video of the Stones on the Tattoo U, right before the Tattoo U tour, right?
I snuck into that one.
Well, some guy runs on stage behind Mick Jagger when he's singing, and you see Keith Richards take his guitar off and smash him right in the head, and guy gets carried off. Well, all right, that's Rock Band, all right. I'll wrap this up quickly. There's a great one, all right. Jerry Lewis was performing at a theater auditorium in Brooklyn.
Right.
All right. And it's like a Q&A. This is like the 80s. He sings and talks. Some guy raises his hand, and Jerry Lewis goes, "You want something, friend?" Guy goes,
he's mean. He's mean, that Jerry Lewis.
And he goes, "Yeah, I do impersonations." "Oh, you do? Well, why don't you come up here and do some impressions for the whole crowd?" Right? So the guy gets up.
Condescending, Jerry.
And Jerry Lewis goes, and he holds the microphone like this. "Who do you do?" And the guy goes, "I can impersonate you." All right. Now, Jerry Lewis, he did a telethon for muscular dystrophy. At the end, he sings that song, "You'll Never Walk Alone."
You'll never walk alone.
All right. So Jerry Lewis says, yeah, it's a song. I think the Bee Gees do it, or the Hollies, or
no, Gary and the Pacemakers.
Oh yeah, it's
Jerry and the Pacemakers.
And it was a beloved song.
And beloved. Entire soccer stadiums of 50,000 people singing at the same time to Jerry and the Pacemakers. Yeah, "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Well, Jerry,
Richard Rodgers, Oscar Hammerstein,
and Jerry Lewis sang it so little kids who have muscle dystrophy, so they wouldn't feel bad. Hey kids, we have your support, and he sings this very touching song. So Jerry Lewis,
high nasal.
Yeah. So Jerry Lewis says to this guy in the audience, "Who do you impersonate?" And he goes, "I do you." And he goes, "Oh, really? All right." And he goes, "All right, go ahead." And the guy starts doing.
You'll never.
And Jerry Lewis pulls the microphone away. So Jerry Lewis pulls the microphone out of the guy's mouth. Goes, "Don't ever make fun of those people like that ever again.
Get off the Jerry.
Don't ever. You can make fun of me. And the guy wasn't making fun of people. My MS. He goes, "Get off my stage." It was just.
He's making fun of Jerry, and Jerry. Jerry just switched it to him. That's how.
Did you ever meet Jerry Lewis?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I never really had the desire. I tried to meet Dean Martin, but he dropped out of the tour, the last Sinatra tour with the thing, and because
go. Here's a fact for you people too out there, right? Now we know the lore, like we said about the Kiss blood and Gene Simmons and the tongue, right? You know it's a big lie, a big LIE lie. Yes, Martin and Lewis did have a breakup. In 1976, Frank Sinatra snuck Dean Martin onto the Jerry Lewis telethon, and they had a tearful reunion, right? But they hung out and were photographed several times after they broke up. At movie premieres in the 60s, there's photographs all over the place. They didn't have like a breakup where they never met each other, just didn't work together. But they did go to events and both were at them. So that's a lie that, oh no, he's a surprise. I'm sorry for ruining everybody's story.
Well, John, once again, it's a conspiracy theory that you're ending with, but you do have the eye of the tiger by expressing your opinion. Okay, look, now for a pause. No, I'm sorry, John. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that once again has been an episode of Kensil Culture, and we hope you press that subscribe button, and right next to the bell, ring that bell. And ladies and gentlemen, for my friend John Kensil and myself, the legendary Wid, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in to Kensil Culture.
Share.